Greetings, everyone. Pete Pardo here from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to another episode of Monday Night Must See TV with the Hudson Valley Squares. We've got a small crew today. As you can see, the two Chris's are here, Chris Canzoneri and Chris Allo. What's up, gents?
How's it going?
What's going on, fellas?
We are the trio of doom tonight.
That's it.
For this episode that has been requested by one or two of our viewers, and I thought it was a pretty cool idea. How about those, we've talked about like perfect albums and perfect album sides. Well, how about those nearly perfect albums, except for one crappy song, right? So everything on the album is awesome, classic, but they throw that one song in there that's a total clunker. So we've each picked out a handful or so of albums that we feel kind of fall into this category. We love the albums, love all the songs except for that one. So we're going to talk about them here. So we'll have Mr. Canzoneri kick us off. We'll go Canz, Allo, myself, round and round until we run out of picks. So Canz, what do you got for your first example of a nearly perfect album except for that one shitty song?
Okay. My first one is one of the first albums I ever owned, Love Gun by good old Kiss. I pretty much dug every song on this album when I got it as a kid. And then I got deep over there on side 2 at the end, and on comes "And Then She Kissed Me." And, I'm like, all right, and when my parents started singing along, I'm like, what is going on?
Something's wrong right there.
Yeah. I'm like, this is cool music. How do they fucking know this? So I learned much later, I guess it's Ronettes or somebody. I don't even know who it is that sang "And Then He Kissed Me." But, yeah, I realized that it wasn't by them because I always read the little notes and stuff. And I was like, well, they didn't write it. And I got over it. But still, to this day, that's, automatic. The album ends one song before that for me. So, "And Then She Kissed Me," that Kiss.
That's an automatic skip.
Yeah.
Yep.
Forgot about that one, but that is a terrible one. Yeah.
Turd. Fucking turd.
That's a great choice. Yeah, because the rest of the songs on that album are kick-ass.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. All right, Mr. Allo, what do you got?
All right. As soon as you announced this topic, Pete, this was the first song that popped into my head. It's debatable whether this is my favorite Metallica record, but I do love "Ride the Lightning," and man, I think that's such a great record with the title track and "Fight Fire with Fire" and "Trapped Under Ice." But man, I absolutely hate that song, "Escape." It's just like lame and poppy, and I just recently read something on it that it was the record company that forced Metallica to do one more song, and specifically it was a song that they wanted something light and poppy because they wanted it they wanted to put it out as a single. And as far as I know, I don't remember "Escape" ever going out as a single, and Metallica never played it live until maybe 10 years ago when they were like, okay, we're going to play all of "Ride the Lightning," and they had never played "Escape" live, so I assume that they never liked it as well. But yeah, I always hate that song, and whenever I listen to "Ride the Lightning," that's a skip.
I always thought if that was on any other album, it might have been okay. It just doesn't fit on that album.
It doesn't fit, yeah.
Yeah. That's good call. I didn't even think of that. I was looking over my Metallica CDs and I was like, yeah, I probably could pick one of these. And then I was having a hard time thinking of it like a song I don't like from like the first couple of albums, and I totally forgot about that one.
Yeah, to me, that's the one out of the first 3 that I'm like, ugh.
That's right. Okay, I have always bitched quite a bit about great bands who put out great albums, and the album is somewhat ruined, not ruined, but the perfectness of the album is marred by a lame cover song. And that is the case for this album. And I actually don't dislike this song. It just completely doesn't fit in here. The album is UFO Lights Out. The cover, of course, is Alone Again Or by the 60s band Love. And it's, like I said, the original version, the original song by Love, good song, perfect from its era. On a British band's hard rock classic like this, with all the strings and all the kind of the vocal stuff. You listen to it and you're like, oh, this is like some cool kind of psychedelic love song. Why the hell is it on this album? It's got a kind of a cool Schenker solo on it, but otherwise, I mean, everything else here on this album is a total banger, and it just does not belong at all. So Alone Again or on Lights Out by UFO, my first pick of the day. Back to Chris.
All right, my next band, they came out with 2 perfect albums, and then they took a little break, and they came out with an album called Third Stage years later, Boston. This album almost made it. The one song that I really do not dig on there is called My Destination. I think every other song on there has got something going for it. This one, it's this sappy, slow ballad. And what really bugs me, there's a little hook in there that sounds like, in the verse, that sounds like Amanda. Like, he's coming back to the same, that and I can't sing, so nobody's going to really know what the fuck I'm talking about. But go listen to it. And, I'm like thinking, I'm waiting for the next part of Amanda to come, because he's like going back and reusing one of those ideas. So that one's a skipper. I enjoy every other song on that album. I know it's not considered their best, but honestly, I think they would have just done well to leave that off, and it would have been 3 perfect albums in a row. So, My Destination by Boston.
Yeah, Tom did that from time to time on the last couple albums. He just kind of went back to the well one too many times, and you hear these like little melodies and things here, and then you're like, that came from this song. Yeah. All right, Chris Allo.
All right, this next one, piggybacking on what Chris said, a band known for their perfect albums, and a band that we talk about probably way too much on this channel, but a band that's definitely has a number of perfect albums, Iron Maiden, and a lot of people, I have quite a few friends who single out album number 4, Peace of Mind, as their favorite record, but I always poo-poo it, because I absolutely fucking hate that song, Quest for Fire. I mean, just the fucking, every time I hear it, the opening lyric, I burst out laughing. I mean, in a time when dinosaurs ruled the earth, and it's catchy and crappy, and I always just think of that shitty movie with dirty cave people fucking like by the lake. It's just like what inspired Steve Harris to write a song about this? Like, I don't know, what gave him, if Harris even wrote it. I don't know. Didn't fucking look up the credits, but man, that song blows. That is an instant skip for me. You could take that song out, and then it is a almost perfect record. But man, I hate Quest for Fire.
Still my favorite Maiden album, even though.
There you go.
But I do talk to people every now and then who say that they actually kind of don't mind Quest for Fire.
Sure, listen,
I thought he was going for a Sinbad kind of thing. When you got humans and dinosaurs still, inhabiting the same space.
Well, that's like his Ray Harryhausen flicks, right? Yeah.
But that's the thing that's totally retarded too. Like, if you saw the movie, there's no dinosaurs in that fucking movie. It's just dirty cave people screwing and grunting. It's like the worst fucking movie.
Oh, Quest for Fire, a bunch of hippies just.
Yeah, that's it. It's like dirty hippie cave people screwing.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't seen it in 40 years, but it's pretty bad from what I remember.
Yeah, I don't even remember it. If I remember when it came out, I remember seeing it, but
yeah,
it was a long time ago. All right. How about Emerson, Lake and Palmer, Brain Salad Surgery? Benny the Bouncer. No. ELP was pretty famous for throwing at least one wacky kind of carnival music, BS song on all their classic albums. You got Jerusalem Toccata, Still You Turn Me On, then Benny the Bouncer. It's just so silly and so ridiculous. And then you got Carnival 9, the extended suite on side 2 of the original LP. So it's like, I never liked Benny the Bouncer. I just think it just sticks out like a sore thumb here. I know some people are like, oh, but it's kind of fun. It's it is what it, it's silly for what it is. And I'm like, yeah, it's too silly. Doesn't belong in this album. It literally just breaks the flow of the entire record. So Benny the Bouncer, ELP, Brain Salad Surgery. Back to Chris.
All right, my next one is the song Crossfire off the Scorpions' near masterpiece, Love at First Sting. I don't hate this song. But this is an album about getting laid, partying. The songs are quick, they're fast, everything's fun, and then they decide, you know what? We hate war, man. Let's do this song about some nasty shit that happened in the world, blah blah. And I'm just thinking, after Winds of Change came out, now I look back on this and I'm like, oh, they were getting rolling back then. But the thing that really bugs me is the marching drum thing that just would be good for an intro, but they just keep it going through the whole song and it never really goes in. It's just and it's just over and over and over again. And I'm like, you know what? This is boring. I don't like it. Get back to cruising in California, like German guys who came to California, like, oh my God, this is unbelievable. All the ladies, that was the Scorpions fun that I was in for. And this one, I don't hate it, but it just doesn't seem to fit the rest of the album for me. That drum thing, just start it off like that, but then move on to something else.
Which wasn't even Herman's a German. I didn't even know that for fucking years.
Yeah.
The drums. Yeah, I had no clue.
Why?
Oh, it's Bobby Rondinelli on drums.
On the whole album or just that song?
Oh, I thought it was the whole record. I thought it was Bobby Rondinelli that did drums and Jimmy Bain that did bass.
Yeah, because what was the reason for that? I remember.
No idea. No clue. But what's his name? Francis Buchholz and Herman the German are fucking credited on Love at First Sting. But yeah, apparently it's not them. Which is so crazy to think that, okay, well, and right, Don Dokken had to do the guide vocals. It's like, Jesus, like who, so, which I'd still love to, even though I'm not the biggest Dokken fan, I'd still love to hear that album just out of curiosity.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Klaus was having all sorts of issues with his
Yeah.
around that time, yeah. All right, Chris, what do you got?
Okay. Let's see. What am I picking? Oh yeah, my favorite band. I talk about them way too much. Let's shit on Black Sabbath. One of your favorite records, Pete. It could be your favorite Sabbath record. I forget. I think Volume 4 is your favorite Sabbath record. I think it's a near perfect record. I know a lot of people shit on FX. I will listen to that, to Tony Iommi dicking around all day long before I have to sit through Changes. I fucking hate that song. I always skip through it. I can't skip through it fast enough. Ozzy and the fucking piano and whining about breaking up with his first wife, and it's ridiculous. I can't stand it. So yeah, Changes. I fucking hate that song.
I was going to pick that, but I decided not to because I'm like, I know Chris is going to pick a Sabbath album, so yeah. I would leave you to that. But yeah, I would have picked that because that's my favorite Sabbath album. I love everything record on it. I never need to hear that song again.
Yeah,
take it off.
Yeah, I mean, of those first 4 records, for me that's the one. I'm like, oh God, like I wish I could go to like a dermatologist and laser this thing off because it's terrible.
Yeah, it's a good choice. And there's, for me, Planet Caravan.
Yeah, it's not great. I actually like that Pantera cover better.
Yeah. And I'm not a big fan of Who Are You?
Oh, yeah, that's true. But that's Sabbath Bloody Sabbath?
Yeah. So that, to me, that also kind of like makes that not quite a perfect album because I really don't care for that song too much. Anyway. We could do this. We could do a whole show of just near perfect Sabbath albums that are.
Yeah. I mean, since we're there, I was also going to say, "Am I Going Insane?" off of fucking Sabotage is terrible.
Yeah,
there's such great stuff on that record. Hole in the Sky, Symptom of the Universe, The Writ, and then Am I Going Insane?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I'm not a big fan of that either. Yeah. But that album rules, right? So you hear these albums that are like so amazing, but like. Right. One bad song. Bad song.
Which is the topic.
Yeah. All right. How about Blue Oyster Cult, Cultosaurus Erectus? Actually, I picked the wrong one. Sorry, not Cultosaurus Erectus.
There's no bad songs on that album.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to.
Yeah, no, I picked the wrong one. Fire of Unknown Origin. After Dark. I love this album. I think it's great. After Dark for me, I think is even a little too quirky for BOC. I absolutely hate that cheesy synth thing that's going on throughout the whole song. Some of the guitar riffs are okay. The vocals are not too shabby. It's almost to me like Buck is trying to sound like Alex Lifeson right around the same period, like that early mid 80s Rush guitar tone. But man, I hate the synth on that song. And I don't know. It's a little too weird for BOC for me, but I love the rest of the album. It's just by the time I get to that song, like all the way near the end, I'm kind of like, oh man, it's got to kind of kill the momentum for me. Yeah. So totally not Cultosaurus Erectus, because these are all great songs, but one song on Fire of Unknown Origin, After Dark. That's my next choice.
Okay. My next one, the album is pronounced Lynyrd Skynyrd by Lynyrd Skynyrd. Another song, I don't hate it, but I don't think it goes with the rest of the album. It's Mississippi Kid. You know, the whole album is filled with new sounding Southern rock. You know, when that came out, nothing was going on like that. These guys put a whole new like slant, put a little edge on it. You know, it's like, okay, this album just keeps on going with great shit that nobody's ever really heard this way before. And then Mississippi Kid is, you know, just an old timey blues tune. Not that it's bad, but I just don't, you know, I feel like they were told to do that, to have something that people could touch on. It's like, you know, this is Southern music, this is old timey blues, whatever. And I don't dig it. And they've gone like Ballad of Curtis Lowe on, what's that on? Is that on Second Helping? I think, you know, they go with the dobro and they get a little traditional with that. And I think that was way better than this.
I would agree.
You know, not that they shouldn't be doing shit like that, but this I think was just a big miss in context of the rest of the album. So would be good someplace else, maybe even done by somebody else, but I don't like it on this album. So Mississippi Kid's a skipper.
Yeah, it's a shame because every other song on that album is drop dead classic.
Blazing, yeah.
And yeah, it's not an awful song, but it's like, it's the one song I think that makes that album from being a, you know, 5 out of 5 star classic. I mean, you could still call it a 5 out of 5 star classic, but if you're like rating every single song, that's not a 5 out of 5.
Yeah, you wouldn't say it's perfect.
No, not quite. Close. Nearly perfect, right?
Yeah.
Like the title of this episode, Nearly Perfect. All right, Chris, what's your next nearly perfect album?
I was going to say, this is one that a lot of people consider a perfect record or a 5-star record. And, you know, some of the tracks that we're talking about are kind of buried, you know, at the end of the album or towards the end, or at least on side 2. Man, this track is the second track on the record. And I've always not liked this song. And I know they did it earlier this year, and I looked it up. This band is on Europe at the moment, and I'm like, oh shit, I hope they cut it, because I'm seeing them again in the fall. And I'm like, nope, fuck, there it is. I'm talking about Judas Priest and their Painkiller record, which I love, and they love, and everybody loves it. But man, I find Hell Patrol, which is the second track, just a snooze fest. I mean, the rest of that record is so strong. You know, Painkiller, Leather Rebel, Metal Meltdown, One Shot at Glory, everything is just so strong. But man, Hell Patrol, I think, is just boring. And yeah, unfortunately, they did it earlier this year on their anniversary tour, and I was like, oh yeah, I just clicked on their set lists for Europe, and I'm like, fuck, there it is. They're playing in Europe. That means when I'm seeing them in the fall, they'll probably play it again. So,
well, at least you're getting a different song in the set from the last time you saw them, right?
No, well, they did that in 2022.
Did they do it last time we saw them?
Yeah,
March?
they did it in the March runner. So yeah, so it sucks. So at least there's one song I know I can go have a pee break.
There you go.
Because I got the olds and bladder like a 6-year-old, so you know I'll probably have to go. But yeah, but I really do not have never liked Hell Patrol.
Yeah, there were a couple of Priest albums I almost chose today, but I tried really hard today to go for bands that I don't talk about like constantly. So, including my next one, great debut album, really great debut album actually, but one song I never liked on it. The self-titled debut from Bad Company. The song is "Don't Let Me Down." It's right in the middle of the album. I mean, it comes right after "Can't Get Enough," "Rock Steady and Ready for Love," and then "Don't Let Me Down." It's just kind of like this gospel slow bluesy song, and I know some people really like it because it's got such a great melody and the chorus is so great, there's so much emotion in it. To me, I'm just like, oh, please get on to the next song. The next song is Bad Company. It's funny because there's another song on the album that's kind of similar, which is The Way I Choose, but that is done, that's like a slow blues song done very successfully. Great chorus, good guitar work. Rogers sings great on it, whereas I find Don't Let Me Down just drags, boring, no thanks. So yeah, Don't Let Me Down, middle track on Bad Company, self-titled. Get it out of there.
All right, this last one. Another song I don't dislike, but I don't think it fits with the rest of the album. I'm talking about Move Me On Down the Line by ZZ Top off Tres Hombres. It just doesn't groove the same way for me as the rest of them. It's a little bit upbeat. For some reason, it makes me think of Lido Shuffle by Boz Scaggs, which I hate to admit, but
yeah,
you know, that doom, 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 doom. And I'm like, here comes fucking Boz. But no, it's still ZZ Top. Good song. But the rest of that album is just so down and dirty and freaking nasty and fucking greasy and bluesy and perfectly done. And then there's this song, which just, to me, it doesn't fit in. Still a great album. Still love it. But, you know, I can't put that one as a 10 out of 10 song like all the others. So.
Yeah, that's easily my favorite ZZ Top album. And I think pretty much every song on that album is, if we're doing like 5 stars, is the ultimate. Every song is a 5 out of 5. That song for me is probably 3.5 or 4. Not quite. I like it though. But yeah, it's not quite the classic that every other song is on that album. Man, that kicks ass. Kicks ass.
Yeah.
All right, Chris.
All right, my next one. I think, right, was this the first like real metal album, I guess, other than Quiet Riot to go to number 1? Band that we really don't talk about a lot on here. I know Ryan and Nick are not fans. Pantera and their record Far Beyond Driven, which was my favorite of their albums, and like Chris said on his last pick, you know, I kind of felt like it didn't fit. Like this one, it kind of fits, but it's just fucking noise. It's not really a song. You know, there's some great material on there, like Becoming and I'm Broken and 5 Minutes Alone. And then there's like 2.5 minutes of Phil Anselmo like squealing and talking about fucking your girlfriend and some other weird shit in this song, Good Friends and a Bottle of Pills. And I'm just like, every time it comes on, I'm like, skip. Because, yeah, I just, you know, it kind of fits because Pantera was kind of weird at times, but yeah, it's just, I can't bother to listen to this. So that's, I always skip that song. I can't stand it.
Yeah, that's throwaway. Absolute throwaway.
That's it. Yeah, just like, what you just needed one more track? Like, I don't understand.
That's 2 minutes of studio time they could have saved.
Totally.
Obviously, a lot more than 2 minutes they spent in the studio to.
Oh yeah, for sure.
All right, Chris Cans. I'm shocked that you didn't pick this one. Falling in Love with You from Corridors of Power by Gary Moore. I mean, the funny thing is, and I think I've told this story here on the channel before. When this first came out, and you know, this whole album just totally rocks. This was one of those like life-changing albums for me, and I just fell in love with Gary Moore hugely, still to this day. But I remember, like, you know, the last song on side 1 of the LP is this like kind of disco-y pop ballad called "It's Falling in Love with You," and it's unlike anything else that's on here. It's like it sticks out like a sore thumb. But the weird thing is, like, when I was like a teenager, like every chick that I dated, I would always make them mixtapes and stuff that I listened to, and I would always throw that song on there, even though it's not representative of what he does at all.
And did they love it?
Yeah, of course they did. They're like, oh, this is kind of cool, you know? Like, so I did it for years. So that's really the only use I ever had for it, right? Because it's just, I mean, for anybody else, it would have been great. Would have been great on like a, you know, an 80s Foreigner record or something like that. But on this album, it just does not compute whatsoever. But the rest of it's amazing. So and that's, you know, what always kind of stopped this from being an absolutely perfect album. It's nearly perfect. So Gary Moore, Corridors of Power, Falling in Love with You is the one that got to go. Cans, you said you don't have any more?
I got one honorable. It's
Okay.
kind of weird. I wanted to put it on the list, and I went and listened to it again this morning, and I was like, nah. And I was thinking of Lights, Camera, Revolution by Suicidal Tendencies and the song Lovely, which
Okay.
is a little silly, in the context of the rest of the album. But damn, the guitar sounds so good on there. I was like, you know what? I can't put this on my regular list. But that one, a little bit weaker than the rest of the songs on that album. They had such a good run there with the first probably 4, records they made, from the first one, Join the Army, and How I Laugh Tomorrow, and this. I thought, they didn't miss a trick until Lovely, but it's not that bad. And I honestly haven't listened to it in forever, and when I put it on today, I really enjoyed it. So I don't know, maybe it is perfect.
Could be.
Yeah.
Could be. Perfectness is in the eyes and ears of the beholder, right?
Yeah.
True. It's true.
It changes over time.
That's right. Chris.
All right, another one I absolutely hate, but I really love this record. I know a lot of people are either like, when they're into Zeppelin, they're either like the earlier stuff or the later stuff. I definitely like the later stuff. I think Houses of the Holy is great, but man, I fucking cannot stand that song, Jamaica. I just fucking, and I've heard Robert Plant several times make fun of Americans who like to call it Dire Maker. But man, that song.
Which I did for a while too.
That song sucks. Obviously, they were doing a Jamaican vibe, fucking, Caribbean thing. But oh god, it's just awful. Just because you could do it doesn't mean you should.
Yeah.
And it amazes me that this song, which is like the worst Zeppelin song ever, arguably, gets played as much on the radio as it does. I guess
totally does. Yeah.
Along with every other Zeppelin song, but this one gets played like far too much. Anytime it comes on the radio, I'm like, I'll listen to I'll just turn the radio off for 3 minutes. I'm like, I can't listen to it.
I almost picked that album and that song too. Do you know why I didn't though? Because as I was like kind of looking over the track list again, I'm like, you know what? The Crunge isn't a perfect song either.
Okay.
I do like it, but I'm like, if I were like to look, because I kind of the way I looked at this is like, nearly every song needs to be a 5 out of 5 star classic. And obviously one is an outlier. That's why we're picking them. But I was like, the Crunge is good. That also isn't great either. I love everything else that's on that album. Even like Dancing Days, which I dig. Yeah. That's not a 5 out of 5 star. Everything else is perfection.
I guess the Crunge never bothered me as much as.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. Because I will listen to that anytime over Jamaica.
Yeah.
Anytime. Because I never need to hear that song again.
Yeah.
The Crunge is kind of cool because it's kind of funky, but it's not perfect either. But yeah.
I had heard the story of that song was some joke or something. The guy's like, "Oh, I sent my wife on an island vacation." The guy's like, "Oh, Jamaica?" He's like, "Nah, she went of her own accord."
Yeah. There's all sorts of stories about
that's
that.
That's funny.
Robert Plant tell that joke. That joke sucks.
Yeah. It's funny how many stories there are about a song that nobody really likes.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Why'd you spell it that way?
Yeah, who knows? All right, I just thought of one that I did not pull a CD for, but this is also one of those albums that people either love or they don't like at all, which is kind of crazy because I think it's a killer album, but it's got one shitty song on it. The band is Rush. The album is Caress of Steel, and the song is I Think I'm Going Bald.
That was on my list as well.
Really?
On the back. Where? I Think I'm Going Bald from Rush.
There you go. Because I think that album kicks ass. I don't understand why
record,
people don't like it. Maybe
just reading the title, you're like, what?
Yeah.
Like who thought that would be a cool song for a rock record?
Yeah, it sucks. It's no good. No good. It's just very whimsical, which is not really what they do. It's not very much his thing. So, yeah. All right. Anybody else got any others?
I got one. I never really liked this song. Off the first Rainbow record, Ritchie Blackmore's Rainbow. It definitely. I listened to it again today. I'm like, yeah, this sounds like something like a leftover from the Elf days. If you don't like rock and roll, it's just kind of cheesy and it's got the that Elf honky tonk kind of sound
Honky
to
tonk
it.
boogie woogie.
Yeah, and I'm like, yeah, this blows. I'm like, yeah, no, this is terrible.
I have tried so many times. I have them, those Elf records.
Yeah, no, same. Just can't
I
get.
mean,
Can't
Ronnie
get
sounds great, but it's like I'm not into that kind of like
no.
barroom boogie, piano boogie.
Yeah,
doesn't do anything.
it's a tough listen. It's a shame, but yeah, it's that's one somebody should like redo all. Just take Ronnie's vocals and redo all the instruments and
Yeah,
make
get
it
rid,
like
get
yeah,
rid of the honky tonk piano and put in some heavy
absolutely.
guitars, and maybe we'll talk, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. As Chris mentioned earlier, I'm going to pick on Boston just a little bit here. And again, this isn't a terrible song, but for me, it's by far the weakest song on what is a really good album, I think. And it's Don't Look Back. The song is Used to Bad News. To me, it's the weakest track here. It's catchy. It's got some nice organ and guitar work, but it's kind of mellow. And there's a lot of real kick-ass tunes on here. I don't know. I listened to this whole thing today because I was like, I almost went one of the later ones, but I'm like, I don't know if any of those later ones are actually near perfect albums. I mean, this one pretty much is, but I just find Used to Bad News. It's kind of breezy and bright. And I'm like, it's okay, but I like everything else on here so much better. So that's, I wanted to throw that one in there. Got any more, Chris?
Yep, you mentioned the cover song being the bad one, and yeah, this one is definitely off my favorite Testament record, which is their second record, which is The New Order. I felt like the band took a big jump on that record, and man, I still love that record, except the Aerosmith cover of Nobody's Fault, which the Aerosmith version is great. It's just the Testament version, I just never dug it, and to me, it's a real head scratcher. Like who in 1988 was like, yeah, let's have Testament do a cover of Aerosmith? Like, I don't get it. But obviously, somebody thought it was a good idea. They even did a fucking video for it, if I remember.
But who was telling them to do that, right? I mean, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, all right, your first record did pretty good.
Yeah.
So let's it's the follow up, and you know what? Got to put a cover of a popular band's classic tune on there, right?
Totally. I mean, it either had to be the record company or the manager. One of those.
Yeah. I mean, Megadeth did the same thing, right? Anarchy.
Yeah.
In the UK on their third album.
Well, they had a cover on right. The first one, it was These Boots, and then the second one was what the hell was the cover on the second? I Ain't Superstitious.
Yeah.
But right, the Anarchy they really went for.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that just
no good. All right. How about some Uriah Heap here? Their debut album, very heavy, very humble. Great album. But there's a track on here at the end of side one called Lucy Blues. It's kind of straight, slow blues. It's kind of long. They never did anything again like this. I don't know why they put it on this album. None of these guys ever came from kind of like a blues band anyway, right? They were more like they all came from these psychedelic bands. So why they put that on this first album, which is full of bangers. And, speaking of covers, I even kind of like their cover of Come Away Melinda, which is on here. And I think they do a terrific job of that. And it's kind of different, but it works. But man, Lucy Blues, no good. The rest of it's just kick ass. You got Gypsy, Walking in Your Shadows, Dream Mare, Real Turned On, a lot of heavy stuff on here. But yeah, Lucy Blues, no thanks. No good. Stops from being perfect. Anything left, Chris?
All right, last one. I already mentioned this band. I shit on them sometimes. I love them, but I like shitting on them. Man, they did a comeback record 22 years ago, Brave New World, which I really dug. But man, I fucking hate that song, Blood Brothers. I don't understand how Steve Harris says, I wrote the song about my dad called Blood Brothers. Well, he's not your brother, he's your dad. So I kind of don't get it. But either way, the song sucks, and I hate it, and they keep fucking playing it. They're going to play it this year, so that's another song I guess I'll have to go take a walk during because I can't stand it. But yeah, Blood Brothers from Brave New World. Which really is a great record, other than that one.
It really is. Yeah, it really is. And you know what? I sometimes wonder if we'd like that song a little bit more if they didn't play it live so many times and you had to hear that chorus over and over.
Oh my God. It's that chorus that makes me want to put my head in a meat grinder.
Yeah.
But again, I don't understand. It's about your dad, but your blood brothers. No, like that's That's not the thing. The thing is, Blood Brothers. You're a kid and you cut yourself, and you're not doing that with your dad. That makes no sense.
Yeah. Well, nobody's perfect, right?
Yeah. So.
All right, my last one for today. I'm going to go with Nazareth's No Mean City. Great album, heavy album, probably their last really great album. But of course, it has a song very late in the album called Whatever You Want, Babe, which is this kind of weird, like Scottish country rock song. It's got like it's got a pretty catchy chorus and everything like that. But man, it just does not fit on this album full of bangers. And even though you have like Star and May the Sunshine, which are more, have kind of pop hooks and stuff, they're still pretty cool and rocking songs. But yeah, Whatever You Want, Babe, just and I know Nazareth did a lot of these things. A lot of those classic Nazareth albums, they threw all sorts of different style of music on there. But I don't know, for me, it's just the least interesting of all these really great tunes on here. And for me, it just kind of doesn't fit too much. So Nazareth, No Mean City, Whatever You Want, Babe, is my last pick of the day. So there you have it, everybody. Very short show today. Some near perfect albums that are kind of marred by a single crappy song. So down in the comments below, name as many albums that you really, really like a lot, that if it wasn't for that one song, it would be a absolutely perfect 5 out of 5 star album. So plenty to choose from. I'm sure if we, really sat here for another 3-4 minutes, we could probably think about another 10.
Oh, for sure.
There's plenty. Like, like I purposefully wanted to stay away from Sabbath. I said I'm going to stay away from Kiss because I actually had a couple Kiss ones I was considering as well. Zeppelin's got a couple of them as well, and we could pick on Priest and Maiden all day long today.
Well, I'm glad I took all those choices for you then, Pete.
See, that someone had to do it, right? So I figured let me go a little bit more, away from what I normally talk about. And
I couldn't pick any Pink Floyd or Elton John or Beatles or.
I wanted to pick Pink Floyd, but then I was like, all right, so. And, I almost picked metal, but really for me, metal is only great for the 2 bookend songs, right? One of These Days and Echoes. The songs in between are okay. They're not spectacular. Dark Side of the Moon, every song is amazing on there. Wish You Were Here, every song is amazing. Animals, every song is amazing. I'm like, I forget Pink Floyd. We got to go somewhere else. And I was going to start going deeper into prog, and I was like, there's, could all of a sudden have like 20 albums and stuff. So whatever. So there you have it, everybody. Short and sweet tonight. Stay tuned next week for more shenanigans here with the Hudson Valley Squares. Hopefully we'll have, I think we're going to have Ryan Scow and Nick Franco. Well, I don't know about Nick, but I know Ryan is back because they've both been scavenging the countryside of Norway over the last 2 weeks. They're doing the festival thing. Have you guys been seeing all the pictures they've been posting on Facebook?
Funny stuff.
They have been going to all the cool little sites where classic black metal album covers have been photographed, and they've actually been going and finding all these places and taking pictures of them recreating those album cover shoots. So it's been pretty humorous. So they're seeing festivals, all sorts of cool stuff. So hopefully they'll have some stories for us, and we'll see what's going on with the rest of the crew. And visit us on the web at www.seaoftranquility.org. We're on Facebook, we're on YouTube, all together, all the damn time. That's right. For Chris Cantoneri and Chris Allo, I am Pete Pardo. Have yourself a wonderful rest of your Monday evening, and see you tomorrow night in the Prague Seat, where we continue to look at our favorite bands of the alphabet. We are on the letter C this week, so each one of us will be talking about our 3 favorite prog bands that start with the letter C. So we'll see you then. Take care, everybody. Have a good one. Bye-bye.